Okay, my name is Larry Gainey. We have a game here called Gainey's Dead Block Game. Actually, it has been modified, okay, to Gainey's Math Box Game. Okay, you have your box that the game is in, and you also have your rules, which I will explain in a second. All right, you take the game out of the box, unfold it, and you also have your caps that you're going to need in order to play the game. All right, let's say you have about 4 people, okay? And each person will start on 1. You have to establish yourself and the people who are playing, who's going to go first, who's going to go second, who's going to go third, fourth, and so on. The object of the game is to start on 1, go around in sequence, not only to 21, but back to 1. All right, again, go around in sequence to 21 and back to 1, but you're going to run into some obstacles, and part of that obstacle is what we call the cooler. If you're laying inside that cooler, you cannot proceed until someone knocks you out. All right, you see I have here in these aquatic figures here, +1, -1, +1, -2. If you shoot and land inside there, then of course you, in this case, you'll add 1 point, and in this case you'll lose a point. In this case you'll lose 2 points, okay? So you want to try to avoid certain places on the box. All right, or on the game board. Nevertheless, each person will start on 1 and will shoot for 2. You must establish yourself into 2 before you can hit anyone along the way. So, for example, if there's 4 people playing, 1 shoots for 2, you know, most people are going to miss and they're going to need a second turn. Now notice that I actually hit this person here, but it doesn't matter. Why? Because I haven't gotten to 2 yet. All right? You keep shooting until you get into 2. All right? Sometimes you can hunch, keep playing until you get yourself into 2. Now, let's say I establish myself into 2. So, we have something that we call spanning. Spanning is when you establish yourself inside the box and you put your finger on your cap and their cap, and you also tap them and hit them. Well, that is worth 2 points. Well, 2 and 2 is 4. I'll go to 4 and I can shoot for 5. But I also have the option of hitting someone here. Why? Because I've already established myself into 2. Now, again, I can shoot for 5, or I could try to hit one of these persons here. And then I would automatically go to 5. For example, let's suppose that I try to hit someone here and I missed. Well, then the next person will go and try to establish themselves into 2. And the sequence keeps going. Now, just for an example, suppose that you have a situation where someone's here and it's your turn and you hit a person, and let's suppose that this person is hit inside that cooler. Well, the person who is hit inside that cooler must stay inside that cooler until someone knocks them out. The person who hit the person inside the cooler is worth 5 points. Now, if along the way you find yourself hitting someone outside the cooler, that is worth 7 points. All right? So again, you're going from 1 to 21 and back to 1 in sequence. But you can get 2 by spanning, 5 by hitting someone inside the cooler, 7 by hitting someone outside the cooler accordingly. Again, object of the game is to get to 21 and back to 1. And that's it. Thank you. All right. Now, everyone is going to start on number 1. And what happens is you are going to work your way around the board game all the way to 21 in sequence back to 1. But since there's 4 of you, we're going to try to cut some of that time. So here's how we're going to do this. we're going to go to 21, and it's going to be the first person who gets to 21 wins the game. But you got to go in sequence. And there are obstacles in the way. For example, do you see that big blue sort of watery aqua square in the middle? That's called the cooler. You do not want to get in there. All right? Now,
no, they're okay. They're just taking the trash.
Oh, okay. And yes, ma'am.
If you get in the cooler, what happens?
I'm about to explain it to you. All right? Now, let me explain to you exactly what's going to happen when you get in that cooler, okay? Now, you get in the cooler, that means that you cannot go again until someone knocks you out of that cooler. Now, you may pluck the cap or top, and you may get in that cooler yourself, or someone may hit you in that cooler. Now, here's the rules. If someone hits you in that cooler, then the person who does that hitting, that they get 5 points. The person who knocks you out of that cooler gets 7 points. Okay? Now, there is something that is called spanning. Okay? Now, I need to show this to you. Okay? Let me show you how that goes. Let's say the person is in 2. You guys with me? All right. Now, if you're in 2 or any block and there's a cap near you, once you establish yourself in a block, you will put your finger on your cap and their cap, tap, and then hit them. Okay, that is 2 points. Now, let's suppose you span them, tap them, hit them, and they wind up, let's say, in that cooler. Well, if you span them, I told you spanning is how many points?
2.
2. No, that's okay because we're going to go where you're going. What did I say if someone hit you in that cooler? How many points is that?
7.
That's 5. 5. Well, we're going to go where you're going because altogether it will be how many points?
7.
That's right. So it's a little bit of math here involved. You not only have to know where you were, you also need to know once you hit someone, where do you go? Once you've gotten a certain amount of points, okay? So if I was in 2 and I span that person and I hit them inside the cooler, and you told me that was 7 points, so how much is 2 and 7?
9.
That's right, so now you go to 9. You don't stop until you miss. I'll say it again. You keep going until you miss. It's always your turn until you miss. Okay? Now, when you're first of all shooting for your block and you miss, well, of course, it's the other person's turn. Now, you all need to, amongst yourself, establish who goes first, who goes second, who goes third, and who goes fourth. Okay? Totally up to you all. Okay? And you got to go in that sequence. Now, remember what I said. Once you get in that cooler, well, if no one knocks you out, then you have to stay in there and you lose a turn. So you want to avoid that at all costs. Now, yes, ma'am. Very good question. She said, what if you get into one of those oval aqua spots? You see that where it says +1, -1, and so forth and so on? Well, if someone hits you there, the only way that it is a +1 or -1, or in some cases it's a -2, the only way that you're affected with that is if you shoot in there by accident. If you shoot in there by accident, well, it's a -1 or a -2 or +1, whatever it says in there, okay? But no one, of course, purposely does that, all right? But if you shoot in there by accident, then you have to abide by the rules. All right? Now, I know it's going to be very challenging to you because it's not easy to digest and to understand everything I'm saying. So you're going to have questions along the way. Feel free. I expect for you to have questions along the way. Okay? Now, every time you hit someone, I need to share this with you. Every time you hit someone with your cat, that's worth 1 point. Okay? Now, you automatically go to the next block that you're on. In other words, if you're on 5 and you hit somebody, well, now you go to 6 automatically. Okay? Now, keep in mind that spanning rule, okay? Because that's going to get you more points. First person to 21 wins. All right? Now, have you guys established amongst yourself who's going first, second, third, and fourth? Okay, very good. Okay, so I need everyone on 1. Everyone starts on 1.
Okay.
Everyone put your cap on 1, please.
Okay, so if you.
So, now, I know part of this is hand and eye coordination. All right, and I know that you're not used to this. Okay, but what you can do is
Spanning is 2 points.
spanning is 2 points.
And what's the other ones that you can score?
Once you're hit inside the cooler, once you are hit inside the cooler,
You get 5
you
points.
get 5 points. Very good. Once you are hit outside.
COOLA.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. You should put it before cooler, hit inside the cooler is 5 points, and hit outside the cooler is 7 points. Okay? Now, people, I know that you're not used to using, your fingers to pluck caps and so forth, but now you're going to have that opportunity. Okay? Now, you're going to miss sometimes, and that's okay. You're going to have some questions. Don't worry about it. Let's just have some fun. Okay? All right, you have a question, let me know. All right, and the person who goes first, well, go ahead. You're going to shoot for 2. Now, listen up. This is extremely important.
Shoot for 2.
It doesn't matter. Listen up. This is important. If you hit someone before 2, that doesn't matter. You must get into block 2 before you can do anything, except that cooler. If you miss and you get into that cooler by yourself, well, you're in there until someone knocks you out. Yes. Oh, those are just designs, pirate, signs. Okay, yes.
Booty. That's what they call
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. You go over. That's what you want to do. As long as you don't go in there and stay in there.
So you gotta pluck it and then move it.
Right. You can really shoot it any way you want. You
Maybe like
can
one of
hedge
those
it.
things like that, I guess.
You can pluck it. Whatever's convenient for you. All right. However, you are comfortable with shooting that cat, and that's going to happen too. Now that's the whole purpose of these bars. These bars up here. Okay, and so that the cap doesn't come off the board. But if it does come off the board, just put it on the edge. Okay? All right? Yep. Okay. All right. So everyone is shooting for 2. Go for it.
Sorry, I'm first.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
So you gotta go one at a time. First, second, third.
Yup. First, second, and third. Now, if you don't get it, you gotta wait. You gotta wait.
It's
Yup.
like golfing. You get real close.
Oh, whoa, whoa. Whose is this? Who just got in? Oh, okay. I thought you made it. What's this person?
I plugged it in the middle. Oh, yes, I made it.
You made it?
It's underneath fire.
It's so good. Well, who got it? Okay, all right, remember what I said.
Right up there.
Remember what I said. Now, this is or
You're fired, Gainey.
Okay, so this was yours, right? Now, do you remember what I said about standing? And go to 4 yourself if you hit her, if you are successful in hitting her. Okay? Now, or you can hit this person, or you don't have to spank. But if you want more points, you spank. Oh, there you go.
I don't care, I'm on fire. No, bro, get off my
Gotta hit her.
Who hit you up? You gotta hit your try to start. No, you was right.
Okay, alright, so now, how many points do you get? 2. You get 2, right? So this is your cap, right? So now you're on 4. But hold on. It's still her turn. See, it's still the person's turn until they miss. Now, you can shoot for 5. Okay? Alright? Now you also have the option of hitting one of these people, but it's up to you. You can shoot for 5, or you can try to hit them. Now who's after her? Okay, alright. But you keep the same sequence. Up. You see what that says? Right.
Alright, check this out.
It's going to be noisy.
Table 3.
Fellas.
I got a quick question because this is coming up and I see it. Is it better to turn the table so that they can access it, or do you walk around the table?
Actually, if you only had one desk, they would actually be able to physically get up. But ladies, gentlemen, you can turn that around. Okay? Oh, I'm sorry. You okay? You all right? Okay. You can actually turn the game around so that it is convenient for you. Okay?
Okay, I was just curious because sometimes when they turn it, a couple of pieces loose.
Right. But be careful not to move the pieces.
Even that Okay, I can plug it.
All right. Give them room so they can get in there. Who's next? Okay. But you gotta follow the sequence. Who was first?
You know you can't do anything before
Second. Who was third? Okay. Then hers. Then yours. You gotta keep the sequence, okay? Keep the order, in other words. I know you were first, but you keep the order. Okay? What happened?
I said you trick.
No, you gotta be completely inside. Right. You gotta be completely inside.
Man, we go anywhere.
Okay.
I'm going anywhere. Fuck it, bro.
Try to keep the steps where they are. Okay? No.
No, you cheat.
When you tried to hit him, you missed and you came up over here, right? So keep that cap there. Okay, who's here? Did you all get into 2 yet? You haven't gotten into 2? Well, listen. You gotta go in order. Okay? You gotta be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You understand what I'm saying? Okay? And you can't hit anyone until you establish yourself in 2 yet.
all the way up there. She gotta get the 3.
Yes, everyone gets into 2 first. Okay?
Bro, you not trying to get to the 8th grade. No, you plugged in 2 times. You was on 1. Hey, you gotta get to 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right. Steve,
I won.
Hey, preparation 5. You got 3 seconds. 1. Diana. 2.
okay,
And
listen. Excuse me.
4.
Listen, I know you guys are excited, and I appreciate that. All right? I appreciate that. But listen, you absolutely must establish yourself into to the box 2 first, okay? You can't just start hitting people when you haven't gotten to 2 yet, okay? Everyone must get into 2 first, all right? I know you want to do it, and I understand that, but you got to get into 2, and then you can start. I see you moving caps around. Once you go ahead and shoot, listen, that's exactly what I mean. Once you shoot, you have to keep your cap where it is. You can't start moving it around, all right? So, once you shoot, keep your cap where it is. All right, until your turn comes up next. All right, you ready to go ahead? Yes,
First of all,
yes.
mine was like this. So you tell mine.
You'll be supposed to
Try. No. Go ahead.
No, you can't move it. He said don't move it. He said you can't move it.
You gotta leave it there.
No, stop my shit. I got two cheetahs right here.
Hold on.
That's your I got two like this. No, I didn't get two. Right? You talking about touching me? The word shook. I didn't get two because I have to get in the kid. Oh, you want to you know what I'm saying?
Whose turn?
It's not your turn. He said we can do that.
You guys okay?
So what happened to that's mine. Yes, she did. At least I got 3.
You get it?
Yes. Keep on matter.
Listen, don't worry about that right now. So you're in 2, right? Okay, you split up. Okay? Now remember I talked about Fanny and Diddy?
Where's Cheyenne?
It's called. And it hit her.
Because that's part of the game. You'll have your chance, so now you go to
Go up.
All right, so, but hold on. It's still your turn. Who's in 2? Okay,
You can hit her over 2 where that's 7 for
okay.
and she's still in the
Well, yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Turn up when so it's comfortable for you.
Let's go.
Oh my turn. Let him do it.
You didn't even get the 3 yet. Oh.
That's right.
You got minus 1. Alright, I got 12. Alright.
All right, well, when you do that, you gotta let go. Okay? There you go.
She got me frozen. You didn't even get to 2 yet. I got 2. I was at 2. No, you was not. I'm a liar. I'm at 5. I'm not a liar. I wasn't 2. But do I get a point though? Don't even on his face.
Ooh. Here. Okay, so it's just 3. So okay.
This is 13. Minus 1 equals 12.
That's 17.
That's 24. You won. Yeah, I won. Like, no, he said you got more than 1.
No, you gotta go in order from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
But you didn't get to 2. Nobody got to 2. It's turn. You gotta start first. Literally go first.
Oh, aren't you playing? Okay. So who's first?
Yes, you are. No, you're not. You got too much. So I got a 1.
No, you got 1 stroke.
It's my turn.
Who's first? Yeah, but that doesn't matter yet. You shooting too hard. Okay, that's okay. Oh, no. And that happens. Don't worry about it.
Larry,
Yeah.
if you knock somebody into the cooler, you get 5, right?
Yes. Where did you go after that? What I'm trying to say is you knocked her in the cooler on 4, right?
Guys,
Now,
inside voices. Inside voices.
So that's 5 points for you. Okay? So how much is 4 and 5? Right. So now you also knocked her out, right? That's right. So how much is 9 Very good. So you know that here's your count. You are at least on 16.
Alright, Larry, I'm sorry. I got to interrupt. Preparation 5, you got 3 seconds. 1, 2, Lawrence, 3. Preparation 4. Now you know why Miss Vincent Smith just knocked her head in there. It's too loud. And I don't mind you guys having fun. Neither does Larry. Shh, quiet.
Why are you talking while he's talking?
But whether we're playing a game, or whether we're studying, or whether we're talking with our friends, even in the lunchroom, we use inside voices. We're filming here. And it's too noisy to film. You just gotta use inside voices. That's it. Have fun, but use inside voices. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so hold on. Let's establish one person. Let her just keep, okay? Now, you're on 16, right? Okay. Okay? Now, she keeps going though. No, she keeps going until she misses. Okay? Yes. Is that 16? Okay. Now, so you're gonna, whenever you go next, you're shooting for 17. Okay? Now, but you still go now because it's your turn. Okay? And who's after her? So y'all trying to hit each other. No. Listen, you can't double and triple clutch. You can only shoot once. Okay? Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. All right, but hold on. We're going to allow him to go again. Okay? Now, but you can only do it on one swing. Okay? You can't double, triple, and quadruple clutch. Okay? Okay, good. You hit that person. What number were you on? Okay, so now you're on 4, right? Now, do you guys remember what I said about Spanny? All right. You forgot, didn't you? But that's okay. All right, that's why we're here. Span, listen, my man, so you understand. So we're going to span.
All right, play the game. You know what? Just play the game.
And then hit that way. And move the board so it's convenient for you. Okay? Go ahead. Now, so now that's worth 2 more points. Where do you go now? How much is 4 and 2? No, you're already in 6 and still determined until you miss. Okay? Alright, so the next person goes. Hold it, you're out of sequence. Was it your turn? Yeah.
I'm going to determine the winner.
Okay, so it was his turn. Now, you don't have to jam yourself up. Okay, alright. I'm blind.
Oh my God! No, you get 5.
Now you get 6.
You
Come on, Larissa. You're supposed to get the 5 still.
Okay.
I still gotta get the
But
5. You
the-
get
the
on
next-
word.
No, you gotta go. Yeah, 5.
You get 5 credit from me.